The will of the gods was at peace. But what of men? Row!
Faster! Row faster!
Strong arms powered the will of those solid boats that darkened the shadows on the horizon. Then, great sails made to billow by no less than Neptune himself cheered on that wondrous fleet of fast-moving vessels. The legions besieged Carthago Nova.
To the wall!
25,000 infantrymen, 2,500 horsemen, ladders, assault towers, orders to attack. The powerful machinery of Roman warfare ready to strike in combat.
To your posts! Light! Fire! Forward! Archers to the platform! Fire! Ready to strike!
Scipio Africanus showed his magnanimity before the surrender of the enemy. He ordered the killings to stop. The plundering of the booty commenced. The boats were full of shining silver, and the streets full of black death. The din of war, the music of victory, and silence. Silence in honor of the fallen. I've always loved these holy pressings. To walk among lives that have gone before us, to read inscriptions and imagine what their existence was like. Sometimes sadness awakens the happiest of yearnings. The youth of a boy in imperial Carthago Nova. The virtuous enclave. The city touched by the magical muse of Mercury. Carthago Nova, splendorous and sensuous, born out of the epic days of war and peace. Tradesmen and business people, comedians and musicians, gods and men, freemen and slaves, all of them representing in unison the formidable pageant of life.
Gather round, ye strong arms to work in the fields of the mind. I've brought some good slaves today.
My eyes were opened to the light in the calm era of the Emperor Claudius. The gods looked kindly enough on me to grant that I be born into an honorable Roman family. My mother was Octavia Lucana. She was a woman of noble birth, educated and refined. I, Titus Albino, am her only son. My father, Marcus Albino, was a prosperous and respected businessman, a practical man of simple tastes.
Tell me, Macius, who would you have been on in the next games?
On my school always. Titus, shield yourself from attack.
Fighting exercises, an unavoidable daily appointment. The master, Macius the Greek, director of a famed gladiator school. My father wanted to increase my incipient virility, distancing myself from what he called the dangerous femininity of the arts. But my skills in physical disciplines were not favored by Mars.
If you don't shield yourself from attack, you'll be easy meat for scavengers.
Good fight, my son.
Thank you, Father.
Sure you don't need a young gladiator for your school?
Father, I do as well as I can.
They say that Ben Ali has trained invincible gladiators.
That dog only trains beasts.
Well, they say that Dardanus, the barbarian, has a terribly wicked sword.
Some brave rat. That piece of vermin doesn't know what a clean fight is.
Ah, so there are honorable fights between gladiators, good Macius?
Marcus Albino. There is more honor on the amphitheater floor than in the entire Senate of Rome.
Whenever my father and Macius discussed bets and gladiators, my battered person was superfluous. And I would devote these times to my studies. Reading makes the man complete, my mother was often fond of saying. A time for study, which coincided with her offerings to the gods. Octavia was a skilled expert in mixing wine for libations. Some subtle skills which my father never managed to appreciate to their full extent.
Octavia, what kind of ambrosia is this?
Wine made from dates. Isn't it to your liking?
My darling wife's concoctions. Do you want to try it, Titus?
Today, I prefer water, Father.
A wise decision.
But it makes a splendid drink for Vesta. It's very refined.
I don't doubt it, but I have an unrefined palate. You know, son, I think it's important that you start taking on the business you'll inherit one day. And this?
Wine with lotus and dates. Reminiscent to wine with honey. A special libation for Vulcan.
Can't a man just drink ordinary wine in his home?
You see, son, what's good for the gods isn't good for your father.
That's because gods are immortal and I am not, Octavia.
My dear husband, I respect you too much to argue against you. Besides, a multitude of words is no proof of a prudent mind, according to...
Tales of Miletus?
Magnificent. Have you noticed, Marcus? Our son is turning into quite a scholar.
Titus, I want you to come with me to the forum. Today they're announcing who's won the contract to install the new watercourses, and I want you to be there at my side.
It's always a source of pride to be seen with my father.
Wine made from rose petals. Ideal for Isis. Aromatic?
Very aromatic. Titus, I expect to receive in the forum the favor of all the gods.
In those days, the prosperity of the Albino family shone with the intensity of the brightest morning star.
I've got it. I'll take it in.
The harvests were abundant. My mother would say that, thanks to her libations, Ceres had been magnanimous. the stone walls of the mill could satiate their hunger for grain. The bakers' shops were brimming over with flour, and their ovens with crusty breads.
Come in and see the most beautiful amphora in Carthagonova.
The Salzillo family manufactured the pitchers and amphorae that were needed in order to successfully sell wine and oil. They also made pieces of crockery, delicate pieces produced by the fair hand of their daughter, the beautiful Lydia. My personality became pensive and I struggled for words when I was in her company. Although she was concentrating on shaping the clay, Lydia rewarded me with a wonderful smile from time to time. Had it not been for the echoes that resounded from the nearby noisy harbor, I would never have emerged from that sweet trance. Those were the beautiful days. Carthagonova was growing and prospering thanks to its ideal location. Men and their assets arrived from the most distant places, a seemingly inexhaustible wealth of fortune.
We've arrived, thanks to the gods.
Hurry up with those bales.
Have you seen such beautiful
Wheat,
fish?
wine, oil, esparto grass, lead, and silver. Silver supplied with the same luster as stars. Majestic ships bore thousands of amphorae, 5,000, 10,000 even at times. And everywhere you looked, there were people engaged in heated bargaining and haggling.
Cheating? How dare
Souls who embraced one another upon meeting again.
Take care of yourself.
Hearts that went their own way after farewells. Once again, the symphony of life was playing out before my very eyes in all its splendor, and me, insatiable as ever, took it all in as the greatest of good fortune. Happy to find myself among the living, happy to enjoy that proud and voluptuous Carthagonova. That day, the Forum was teeming noisily. Crowds, icons, revered statues,